Partnership. When two or more persons join hands to set up a business and share its profits and losses, they are said to be in partnership. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as the relationship between the persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Persons who have entered into partnership with one another are individually called partners and collectively called firms. The name under which the business is carried is called the firm's name. A partnership firm has no separate legal entity apart from the partners constituting it. Features of partnership. First, two or more persons. To form a partnership, there should be at least two persons coming together for a common goal. The minimum number of partnership in a firm can be two. There is, however, a limit on their maximum number. The number of partners cannot be more than 100. The central government has prescribed the maximum number of partners in a firm to be 50. Second, agreement. Partnership is the result of an agreement between two or more persons to do business and share its profit and losses. The agreement becomes the basis of relationship between the partners. Third, business. The agreement should be to carry on some business. Mere co-ownership of a property does not amount to partnership. Fourth, mutual agency. The business of a partnership concern may be carried on by all partners or any of them acting for all. Each partner carrying on the business is the principal as well as the agent for all other partners. Relationship of mutual agency is so important that one can say that there would be no partnership if the element of mutual agency is absent. Fifth, sharing of profit. Another crucial element of a partnership is that the agreement between the partner must be to share profit and losses of a business. If some person join and for the purpose of some charitable activity, it will not be termed as partnership. Liability of partners. Each partner is liable jointly with all other partners and severally to the third party for all acts of the firm done while he is a partner. Not only that, the liability of a partner for acts of the firm is also unlimited. This implies that his private assets can also be used for paying off the firm's debts. Partnership deed. Partnership comes into existence because of the agreement among the partners. The agreement can be either oral or written. The document which contains the terms of the agreement is called partnership deed. It generally contains the details about all the aspects affecting the relationship between the partners, including the objective of the business, contribution of capital by each partner, a ratio in which profits and losses will be shared by the partners, and entitlement of partners to interest on capital, interest on loan, etc. Special aspects of partnership accounts. Accounting treatment for partnership firm is like that of a sole proprietorship business apart from the following aspect. Maintenance of partners' capital account, distribution of profit and loss among the partners, adjustment for wrong appropriation of profits in the past, reconstitution of partnership firm, and dissolution of partnership firm. Maintenance of capital accounts of partners. There are two methods by which the capital accounts of partners can be maintained. These are fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method. Fixed capital method. Under the fixed capital method, the capital of the partners shall remain fixed unless additional capital is introduced or a part of the capital is withdrawn as per the agreement among the partners. All the items like share of profit or loss, interest on capital, drawings, interest on drawings, etc., are recorded in a separate account called partners current account. The partners capital account will always show a credit balance which shall remain the same year after year unless there is any addition or withdrawal of capital. The partner current account on the other hand may show a debit or a credit balance Thus, under this method, two accounts are maintained of each partner's capital and current account. Format of partner's capital account and current account under fixed capital method. Fluctuating capital method. Under the fluctuating capital method, only one account, that is capital account, is maintained for each partner. All the adjustments such as share of profit and loss, interest on capital, drawings, interest on drawings, salary or commission to partner, etc. are recorded directly in the capital accounts of the partners. This makes this balance in the capital account to fluctuate from time to time. This is the reason why this method is called fluctuating capital method. Format of capital account under fluctuating capital method. Profit and loss appropriation account. Profit and loss appropriation account is merely an extension of the profit and loss account of the firm. It shows how the profits are appropriated or distributed among the partners. All adjustment in respect of partner salary, partner's commission, interest on capital, interest on drawing, etc. are made through this account. It starts with the net profit or net loss as per profit and loss account. Format of profit and loss appropriation account.
Rights acquired by the new partner. A newly admitted partner acquires two main rights in the firm. 1. Right to share the assets of the partnership firm, and 2. Right to share the profits of the partnership firm. For the right to acquire share in the assets and profits of the partnership firm, the partner brings an agreed amount of capital either in cash or in kind. Moreover, in the case of an established firm which may be earning more profits than the normal rate of return on its capital, the new partner is required to contribute some additional amount known as premium or goodwill. This is done primarily to compensate the sacrificing partners for loss of their share in super profits of the firm. Following are the important points which require attention at the time of admission of a new partner. 1. New profit sharing ratio. 2. Sacrificing ratio. 3. Valuation and adjustment of goodwill. 4. Revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. 5. Distribution of accumulated profits. 6. Adjustment of partners' capitals. New profit sharing ratio. When the new partner is admitted, he acquires his share in profits from the old partners. In other words, on admission of a new partner, the old partners sacrifice a share of their profit in favor of the new partner. But what will be the share of new partner, and how will he acquire it from the existing partners, is decided mutually among the old partners and the new partner. However, if nothing is specified as to how does the new partner acquire his share from the old partners, it may be assumed that he gets from them in the profit sharing ratio. Sacrificing ratio. The ratio in which the old partners agree to sacrifice their share in profit in favor of the incoming partner is called sacrificing ratio. The sacrifice by a partner is equal to old share of profit minus new share of profit. Goodwill. Goodwill can be defined as the present value of firm's anticipated excess earnings, or as the capitalized value attached to the differential profit capacity of a business. Thus, goodwill exists only when the firm earns super profits. Any firm that earns normal profits or is incurring losses has no goodwill. Methods of valuation of goodwill. The methods of valuation of goodwill are as follows: 1. Average profits method. 2. Super profits method. 3. Capitalization method. When the new partner brings goodwill in cash, the amount of premium bought in by the new partner is shared by the existing partners in the ratio of sacrifice. If this amount is paid to the old partners directly by the new partner, no entry is passed in the books of the firm. But when the amount is paid through the firm, which is generally the case, the following journal entries are passed. 1. Bank account debtor. 2. Premium account for goodwill account. Amount bought by the new partner as premium. 2. Goodwill account debtor to sacrificing partners capital account. Goodwill distributed among the existing partners in their sacrificing ratio. Alternatively, it is credited to the new partner's capital account and then adjusted in favor of existing partners in their sacrificing ratio. In that case, the journal entries will be as follows. 1. Bank account debtor to new partner's capital account. Amount bought by new partner for his share of goodwill. 2. New partner's capital account debtor to sacrificing partner's capital account. Goodwill bought by new partners distributed among the existing partners in their sacrificing ratio. When goodwill is retained in the business. If the partners decide that the amount of premium for goodwill credited to their capital account should be retained in the business an additional entry is not passed. If, however, they decide to withdraw their amounts in full or in part, the following additional entry will be passed. Existing partners capital account individually debtor to bank account. The amount of goodwill withdrawn by the existing partners. When goodwill already exists in the books, existing partners capital account individually debtor to goodwill. Goodwill written off in old ratio. When the partner does not bring goodwill in cash, partly or fully, when the partner does not bring the share of goodwill, there exist two possibilities. A. Goodwill does not exist in the books, and B. Goodwill exists in the books. Goodwill does not exist in the books. When goodwill does not exist in the books, sacrificing partners are credited with their share of goodwill, and new partner is debited by the amount of goodwill not bought by him. Journal entry in this case is incoming partner's current account debtor to sacrificing partner's capital account individually. Account of goodwill not bought in by new partner. Sometimes the new partner brings part of premium for goodwill in cash. In such a situation, new partner's current account will be debited by the amount not bought by new partner. When goodwill exists in the books, goodwill appearing in the books will be written off by debiting all partners' capital accounts in their old profit sharing ratio. Therefore, new value of goodwill will be given effect by crediting sacrificing partners' capital accounts and debiting new partners' current account. Hence, the journal entries will be as under 1. When the value of goodwill appears in the books and is written off, partner's capital account old debtor to goodwill account. Goodwill appearing in the books written off. 2. For new value of goodwill, incoming partner's current account debtor to sacrificing partner's capital account. Adjustment for accumulated profits and losses. Sometimes a firm may have accumulated profits not yet transferred to capital accounts of the partners. These are usually in the form of general reserve, reserve, and profit and loss account. The new partner is not entitled to have any share in such accumulated profits. These are distributed among the partners by transferring it to their current capital accounts in old profit sharing ratio. Similarly, if there are some accumulated losses in the form of debit balance of profit and loss account or deferred revenue expenditure appearing in the balance sheet of the firm, it should be transferred to the all partners' capital accounts. Revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. At the time of admission of a new partner, it is always desirable to ascertain whether the assets of the firm are shown in books at their current values. In case the assets are overstated or understated, these are revalued. Similarly, a reassessment of liabilities is also done so that these are bought in the books at their current values. At times, there may be also some unrecorded assets and liabilities of the firm. These also have to be brought into the books of the firm. For this purpose, the firm has to prepare a revaluation account. The gain or loss on revaluation of each asset and liabilities is transferred to this account, and finally, its balance is transferred to the capital accounts of the old partners in their old profit sharing ratio. The journal entries recorded for revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities are as follows. 1. For increase in the value of assets, asset account debtor to revaluation, gain. 2. For reduction in the value of assets, revaluation account debtor to asset, loss. 3. For appreciation in amount of liability, revaluation account debtor to liability account, loss. 4. For reduction in the amount of liability, liability account debtor to revaluation account, gain. 5. For an unrecorded asset, asset debtor to revaluation account, gain. 6. For an unrecorded liability, revaluation account debtor to liability account, loss. 7. For transfer of gain of revaluation if credit balance, revaluation account debtor to all partners capital account. 8. For transferring loss on revaluation, all partners capital account debtor to all individually old ratio to revaluation account.
Example of revaluation account. After the revaluation account is made, the partner's capital account and the balance sheet after the admission of the partner is made.
Retirement of a partner. Gaining ratio. The ratio in which the continuing partners have acquired the share from the retiring or deceased partner is called the gaining ratio. Normally, the continuing partners acquire the share of retiring or deceased partner in their all profit sharing ratio. In that case, the gaining ratio of the remaining partners will be the same as their all profit sharing ratio among them, and there is no need to compute the gaining ratio. Alternatively, proportion in which they acquire the share of the the retiring partner may be duly specified. In that case, again, there is no need to calculate the gaining ratio, as it will be the ratio in which they have acquired the share of profit from retiring deceased partner. Gaining ratio of continuing partner is equal to new share minus old share. Treatment of goodwill. When goodwill does not appear in the books of the firm, credit in given the retiring partner for the share in goodwill by debiting the goodwill account to gaining partners' capital accounts individually in their gaining ratio. The journal entry is gaining partners' capital account debtor to retiring partners' capital account debtor. Share in goodwill of retiring partner adjusted. Hidden goodwill. If the firm has agreed to settle the retiring or deceased partner's account by paying him a lump sum amount, then the amount paid to him in excess of what is due to him based on the balance in his capital account after making necessary adjustment is respect of accumulated profits and losses and revaluation of assets and liabilities, etc., shall be treated as his share of goodwill, known as hidden goodwill. Death of a partner. The accounting treatment in the event of death of a partner is similar to that in case of retirement of a partner, and that in case of death of a partner, his claim is transferred to his executors and settled in the same manner as that of the retired partner. However, there is one major difference, that while the retirement normally takes place at the end of an accounting period, the death of a partner may occur anytime. Hence, in case of a partner, his claim shall also include his share of profit or loss, interest on capital, interest on drawings, from the date of the last balance sheet to the date of death of these. The main problem relates to the calculation of profit for the intervening period from date of the last balance sheet and the date of partner's death, since it is considered cumbersome to close the books and prepare final account for the period. The deceased partner's share of profit may be calculated on basis of last year's profit or average of past few years, or on the basis of sales. Thank you.